Does every step you take send a sharp jolt through your knee? Do your hands feel so stiff and swollen when you wake up that you can barely make a fist? Does that grinding, burning sensation in your hips make you think twice before getting up from your chair? You've been doing everything right. You've cut back on sugar. You've been eating more vegetables. You switched from butter to those healthy vegetable oils, just like your doctor told you to do decades ago. You followed the advice. You trusted the experts. But here's the question that should be keeping you up at night. What if that bottle of heart-healthy cooking oil sitting in your pantry right now is the exact reason your joints are on fire? What if that switch you made 50 years ago, the one you thought was protecting your heart, has been slowly crippling your body ever since? I'm not talking about junk food. I'm not talking about obviously bad choices. I'm talking about the oils that have healthy written right there on the label. The oils your doctor recommended. The oils that were supposed to save your life. What I'm about to share with you is going to make you angry. It's going to make you question everything you've been told about healthy eating. Because the truth is, you've been lied to. We've all been lied to. And that lie has created an epidemic of chronic inflammation, arthritis and joint pain that's affecting millions of seniors just like you. Your pain is real, but it's not inevitable, it's not just age. And today you're going to learn exactly what's been causing it. Let me take you back to the 1970s. Do you remember what happened? Suddenly, everywhere you looked, there were warnings about saturated fat. Butter was the enemy. Animal fats were going to kill you. Heart disease was being blamed on the traditional fats that humans had been eating for thousands of years. And what were we told to do? Switch to margarine, cook with corn oil, use soybean oil, buy those new heart-healthy vegetable oils. The American Heart Association endorsed them. Doctors recommended them. The government put them in the food pyramid. We trusted them, why wouldn't we? These were the experts, these were the people who were supposed to be looking out for our health. But here's what they didn't tell you. Here's the part of the story that was buried, hidden, suppressed by corporate interests and industry funding. The first oil, soybean oil. Let's start with the most common one, the one that's absolutely everywhere, soybean oil. This oil is in more foods than you can imagine. It's the primary ingredient in most vegetable oils. It's in salad dressings, mayonnaise, margarine, shortening, and virtually every processed food on the supermarket shelf. If you eat at a restaurant, chances are your food was cooked in soybean oil. Here's what you need to understand about soybean oil and inflammation. This oil contains approximately 50 to 60% omega-6 fatty acids. Your body needs a balance of omega-6 to omega-3 of about 1 to 1, maybe 4 to 1 at the most. But when you're consuming soybean oil regularly, you're pushing that ratio to 20 to 1, 30 to 1, sometimes even higher. What happens when your omega-6 to omega-3 ratio gets that distorted? Your body starts producing inflammatory compounds called prostaglandins and leukotrienes. These are the same compounds that create inflammation when you have an infection or an injury. But when you're consuming excess omega-6 every single day, your body is producing these inflammatory compounds constantly. There's no off switch. The inflammation never stops. For your joints, this is catastrophic. These inflammatory compounds travel through your bloodstream and accumulate in your joint tissue. They break down cartilage. They cause the synovial fluid in your joints to become inflamed and irritated. They activate your immune system to attack your own joint tissue. This is how arthritis develops. This is how healthy joints become painful, stiff, swollen joints. But there's another problem with soybean oil that makes it even more dangerous. It's incredibly unstable. When soybean oil is heated, which happens every time you cook with it, it oxidizes. This oxidation creates toxic compounds called lipid peroxides and aldehydes. These compounds cause direct damage to your cells, including the cells in your joints. They accelerate aging. They increase inflammation even further. Think about this for a moment. Every time you've used soybean oil to cook, every time you've eaten a salad with soybean oil-based dressing, every time you've had mayonnaise on a sandwich, you've been introducing this inflammatory oil into your body, day after day, year after year, for decades. And all that time you thought you were making a healthy choice because the label said vegetable oil and cholesterol-free. The soy industry has done an incredible job of marketing their product as healthy. They've funded studies, they've influenced dietary guidelines. They've convinced an entire generation that their industrial oil is somehow better than traditional fats. But your inflamed joints are telling you the truth that the industry doesn't want you to hear. The second oil, corn oil. Now let's talk about corn oil, another oil that was heavily promoted as heart healthy in the 1970s and 1980s. You probably have a bottle in your pantry right now, or you've certainly consumed it without knowing in countless processed foods and restaurant meals. Corn oil is approximately 54% omega-6 fatty acids. Just like soybean oil, this creates a massive imbalance in your body's inflammatory response. But corn oil has some additional problems that make it particularly harmful for your joints. First, corn oil is extracted from corn germ using high heat and chemical solvents like hexane. This industrial extraction process doesn't just get the oil out, it also creates damaged, oxidized fats before the oil even reaches your kitchen. So you're starting with an oil that's already partially degraded, already inflammatory, before you even open the bottle. Second, most corn in America is genetically modified. Now, I'm not going to get into all the debates about GMOs, but here's what matters for your joints. GMO corn is heavily sprayed with herbicides, particularly glyphosate. Residues of these chemicals end up in the corn oil, and research has shown that glyphosate disrupts your gut microbiome. It kills beneficial bacteria and allows harmful bacteria to proliferate. Why does this matter for joint pain? Because 70% of your immune system is in your gut. When your gut microbiome is disrupted, your immune system becomes overactive and dysregulated. It starts attacking things it shouldn't attack, including your own tissues. This is how autoimmune arthritis develops. This is how inflammation becomes chronic and systemic. But let's get back to that omega-6 content. When you cook with corn oil, when you consume foods fried in corn oil, when you eat products that list corn oil in the ingredients, you're flooding your body with pro-inflammatory fats. Your body converts these omega-6 fats into arachidonic acid, which is then converted into those inflammatory prostaglandins and leukotrienes we talked about. Here's what this looks like in real terms. You have corn oil on your popcorn. You cook your vegetables in corn oil. You eat corn chips that were fried in corn oil. You have salad dressing made with corn oil. Each one of these seems like a small thing, but they add up. The corn industry has convinced you that their oil is all natural because it comes from corn. They use images of golden cornfields on their labels. They emphasize that it's plant-based and cholesterol-free, but they don't tell you about the inflammatory cascade it triggers in your body. They don't tell you about the chemical extraction process. They don't tell you that this oil is contributing to the arthritis epidemic. Your morning routine might include corn oil. Your lunch definitely includes it if you're eating processed foods or restaurant food. Your dinner probably has it too. And every meal, every snack, every time you consume this oil, you're making your joint pain worse. The third oil, canola oil. Canola oil might be the most deceptive of all these oils because it's been marketed so aggressively as the healthiest option. You've probably seen the claims, low in saturated fat, rich in omega-3, heart healthy. It sounds perfect, doesn't it? But let me tell you the truth about canola oil and why it might be the worst offender for your joint pain. First, let's talk about what canola oil actually is. It's made from rapeseed, a plant that produces seeds containing a toxic compound called erucic acid. Traditional rapeseed oil was considered unfit for human consumption because of this toxicity. So in the 1970s, Canadian scientists bred a new variety of rapeseed with lower erucic acid and called it canola, Canadian oil low acid. But here's the problem. Even low erucic acid rapeseed still requires extremely harsh processing to become canola oil. The seeds are heated to high temperatures, often around 400 degrees. They're treated with petroleum-based solvents to extract every drop of oil. Then the oil is degummed, bleached and deodorized because the processing makes it smell terrible. By the time that canola oil reaches your kitchen, it's been so heavily processed that a significant portion of its fats have been damaged and oxidized. These oxidized fats are directly inflammatory. They create free radicals in your body. They damage your cell membranes, and they specifically accumulate in areas of high metabolic activity, like your joints. Now let's talk about that omega-3 claim. Yes, canola oil contains some omega-3, but it's a type of omega-3 called ALA, which your body has to convert into the beneficial forms EPA and DHA. And guess what? Most people over 60 are terrible at making this conversion. You might convert 5%, maybe 10% if you're lucky. The rest just gets metabolized for energy, or worse, oxidizes into inflammatory compounds. But canola oil is still approximately 20% omega-6. So yes, the ratio is better than soybean or corn oil, but you're still flooding your body with pro-inflammatory omega-6 fats. And because canola oil has been marketed as so healthy, people use even more of it, thinking they're doing themselves a favor. Here's what makes me angry about canola oil. It's everywhere. It's in healthy salad dressings. It's in organic foods. It's in products marketed to health-conscious seniors. The industry has convinced us that this heavily processed, industrially extracted oil is somehow better than butter or olive oil, fats that humans have consumed safely for thousands of years. When you cook with canola oil, especially at high heat, you're creating even more oxidized compounds. These compounds are called HNE, 4-hydroxynonenal, and they're extremely toxic to your cells. They trigger inflammation, they damage DNA, they accelerate aging, and they make arthritis worse. I want you to think about how often you've chosen canola oil because you thought it was the healthy choice. How many times you've bought it specifically because of the health claims on the label. How many meals you've cooked with it, thinking you were protecting your heart. All the while, you were creating inflammation in your joints with every bite. The fourth oil, sunflower oil. Sunflower oil sounds innocent, doesn't it? It comes from those beautiful yellow flowers. It's natural, it's plant-based. The bottle often has a cheerful sunflower on the label. It seems like it should be healthy. But conventional sunflower oil is approximately 65% omega-6 fatty acids. That's even higher than soybean oil. That means it's even more inflammatory. Every tablespoon of sunflower oil you consume is delivering a massive dose of pro-inflammatory omega-6. Here's what you need to understand about sunflower oil and your joints. The high omega-6 content doesn't just cause inflammation through the prostaglandin pathway we've discussed. It also affects your cell membranes. Every cell in your body is surrounded by a membrane made of fats. When you consume high amounts of omega-6, those fats get incorporated into your cell membranes. This makes your cells more rigid, less flexible, and more susceptible to inflammatory damage. In your joints, this is particularly problematic. The cells that make up your cartilage, your synovial lining, your joint capsule, all of these cells need flexible, healthy membranes to function properly. When those membranes become saturated with omega-6 fats, the cells can't communicate properly. They can't respond to signals that tell them to reduce inflammation. They become stuck in a pro-inflammatory state. Sunflower oil is also extremely unstable when heated. It has a low smoke point, which means it starts to break down and oxidize even at moderate cooking temperatures. When this happens, toxic compounds are formed. These include aldehydes, which are the same compounds found in cigarette smoke and exhaust fumes. These compounds cause oxidative stress throughout your body, accelerating aging and worsening inflammation. But here's where sunflower oil gets really sneaky. It's often used in products that seem healthy. Baked, not fried chips, probably made with sunflower oil. Natural crackers. Check the label, sunflower oil. Even some supplements like vitamin E capsules use sunflower oil as a carrier. It's marketed as a clean ingredient, so health-conscious companies use it to appeal to consumers who are trying to make better choices. The irony is painful. You're buying these products specifically because you're trying to reduce inflammation, trying to be healthier, trying to protect your joints. But that sunflower oil is undermining everything you're trying to accomplish. And there's another problem. Sunflower oil is cheap, really cheap. So restaurants use it, food manufacturers use it. It's in frozen dinners, canned soups, pasta sauces, and countless other products. You're consuming it multiple times a day without even realizing it. And each exposure adds to your inflammatory load, adds to your joint pain, adds to your suffering. The fifth oil, safflower oil. Safflower oil is less common than some of the others we've discussed, but it deserves its place on this list because when people do find it, they often think they've discovered a healthier alternative. They see safflower oil on the label and think it sounds exotic, natural, better than the mainstream oils. But conventional high linoleic safflower oil is approximately 75% omega-6 fatty acids. Let me repeat that, 75%. That makes it one of the most inflammatory oils you can consume. It's essentially concentrated omega-6. When you consume safflower oil, you're delivering an enormous payload of linoleic acid to your body. This linoleic acid gets converted into arachidonic acid, which is the direct precursor to inflammatory prostaglandins and leukotrienes. The more linoleic acid you consume, the more arachidonic acid your body produces, and the more inflammation you experience. For someone with arthritis, this is like pouring gasoline on a fire. Your joints are already inflamed, your immune system is already overactive, and now you're giving your body the raw materials to create even more inflammatory compounds. The pain intensifies, the swelling increases, the stiffness gets worse, and you have no idea that the healthy oil you switched to is the cause. Safflower oil is also highly unstable. It oxidizes easily, both during processing and when exposed to heat or light in your kitchen. These oxidized fats are particularly dangerous because they create a chain reaction of oxidative damage in your body. One oxidized fat molecule can damage multiple cells, creating free radicals that then go on to damage more cells. This cascade of oxidative stress specifically targets your joints because joint tissue has high metabolic activity and is particularly vulnerable to oxidative damage. Here's something most people don't know. Safflower oil is often used in health food products. It's in some organic salad dressings. It's in natural mayonnaise. It's even in some supplements and protein powders marketed to seniors for joint health. The manufacturers choose it because it sounds healthier than soybean oil or corn oil, but in reality, it's even more inflammatory. The safflower industry is small compared to soy or corn, but they've been very effective at positioning their product as a premium, healthier alternative. They emphasize that it's all natural. They talk about its light flavor that won't overpower your food. They conveniently ignore the fact that it's one of the most omega-6 rich oils available. When you consume safflower oil thinking you're making a better choice, you're actually making your inflammation worse. You're accelerating your joint damage. You're increasing your pain. And the cruel irony is that you're often paying more for the privilege of hurting yourself more severely. The sixth oil, peanut oil. Peanut oil is popular for frying because it has a relatively high smoke point. It's used in many Asian restaurants. It's what Five Guys uses to fry their famous French fries. It's in many packaged snacks. And many people think it's a healthier choice because peanuts are natural and have protein. But peanut oil is approximately 32% omega-6 fatty acids. While that's lower than some of the other oils we've discussed, it's still far too high for someone dealing with joint pain and inflammation. And because peanut oil is used primarily for frying, you're often consuming it after it's been heated to very high temperatures, which makes it even more inflammatory. Here's what happens when peanut oil is used for deep frying. It's heated to 350–375 degrees Fahrenheit. At these temperatures, the oil begins to break down. The fatty acids oxidize, toxic compounds form. And if that oil is reused, which happens constantly in restaurants, these toxic compounds accumulate and become more concentrated. When you eat French fries or fried chicken cooked in peanut oil, you're not just consuming omega-6, you're consuming oxidized omega-6, which is significantly more inflammatory. These oxidized fats create oxidative stress in your body. They damage your mitochondria, the energy-producing parts of your cells. They interfere with your body's natural antioxidant systems, and they specifically worsen joint inflammation. There's also another problem with peanut oil. Peanuts are legumes, not tree nuts, and they're grown in soil. This makes them susceptible to aflatoxin contamination, a toxic mold that can persist in peanut oil. While refined peanut oil has lower levels of aflatoxins than unrefined, some contamination can remain. These toxins create additional stress on your liver, which is already working hard to process all the inflammatory compounds from the excess omega-6. But let's get back to the inflammation issue. When you regularly consume peanut oil, whether it's from restaurant food, packaged snacks, or cooking at home, you're consistently elevating your omega-6 levels. This shifts your entire body into a pro-inflammatory state. Your immune system becomes hyperactive. Your joints become more sensitive to pain. Existing arthritis gets worse, and new joint problems can develop. The peanut oil industry has benefited from the general perception that peanuts are healthy. They're high in protein, they have some beneficial nutrients, but the oil extracted from peanuts is a completely different product. It's concentrated fat, mostly omega-6, with very little of the beneficial compounds found in whole peanuts. When you go out to eat, and your food is fried in peanut oil, you might think you're making a reasonable choice. After all, it's not partially hydrogenated oil, it's not trans fat, but you're still consuming a highly inflammatory oil that's making your joints hurt more. You're still adding to the problem that's causing you pain every single day. The seventh oil, margarine and vegetable shortening. Finally, we need to talk about margarine and vegetable shortening, the products that represent the ultimate betrayal of public trust. These are the products we were explicitly told to use instead of butter. These are the products that were marketed as heart-healthy, as modern, as scientifically advanced. Margarine is made from vegetable oils, typically soybean, corn, or canola, that have been partially or fully hydrogenated to make them solid at room temperature. Even though most manufacturers have now removed or reduced trans fats after we learned how deadly they are, margarine is still fundamentally an industrial product made from inflammatory seed oils. Every tablespoon of margarine delivers a significant dose of omega-6 fatty acids, typically from soybean oil. It also contains emulsifiers, artificial colors to make it look like butter, artificial flavors to make it taste like butter, and preservatives to give it a long shelf life. Each of these additives can trigger inflammatory responses in your body. But here's what makes margarine particularly insidious for joint health. People use it constantly. It's on toast in the morning. It's used in baking. It's spread on vegetables. It's in countless recipes. So you're getting multiple exposures every single day to this inflammatory product, and each exposure adds to your total inflammatory load. Vegetable shortening is even worse. It's also made from hydrogenated vegetable oils, typically soybean or cottonseed oil. It's pure fat, which means it's extremely concentrated omega-6, and it's often used in processed baked goods, cookies, crackers, pie crusts, pastries, so you're consuming it without even knowing it. When these products were first introduced, they were promoted as miracle foods. Margarine was supposed to prevent heart disease. Shortening was supposed to be cleaner and more convenient than lard. We were told this was progress, that science had improved upon nature. But our bodies don't see it that way. Our bodies recognize these heavily processed, industrially created fats as foreign. Our immune systems react to them, and for someone with arthritis or chronic joint pain, these reactions manifest as increased inflammation, increased pain, and accelerated joint damage. Think about how completely we were fooled. We threw away our butter and bought margarine. We stopped using lard and started using shortening. We thought we were being modern, educated, health-conscious. But we were actually trading traditional fats that humans had consumed safely for millennia for industrial products that our bodies can't properly process. The margarine and shortening industries made billions of dollars from this deception. They funded studies, they influenced dietary guidelines, they advertised relentlessly, and an entire generation suffered the consequences in the form of chronic inflammation, arthritis, and joint pain. I know this is heavy. I know you might be feeling overwhelmed, maybe even angry. You should be angry. You've been lied to for 50 years. You've been suffering because you followed advice that was fundamentally wrong. But here's the good news. You can stop this. You can put out that inflammatory fire. You can start healing your joints starting today. All you need to do is eliminate these toxic oils and replace them with the fats that humans evolved to consume. Here are the safe fats, the fats that will actually help reduce your inflammation. Extra virgin olive oil. This should be your primary oil. Real extra virgin olive oil is rich in oleic acid, a monounsaturated fat that's anti-inflammatory. It contains polyphenols that actively fight inflammation. Use it for salad dressings, for drizzling on vegetables, for low-heat cooking. Make sure you buy real extra virgin olive oil from a reputable source, stored in dark glass bottles. Avocado oil. This is excellent for high-heat cooking. It has a high smoke point so it stays stable when heated. It's also rich in monounsaturated fats and has anti-inflammatory properties. Use it when you need to cook at higher temperatures. Coconut oil. Despite what you may have heard, coconut oil is actually beneficial. It contains medium-chain triglycerides that are easily metabolized and don't contribute to inflammation. It's stable at high temperatures and has antimicrobial properties that support gut health. Real grass-fed butter. Yes, butter. The food we were told to avoid is actually far healthier than margarine. Grass-fed butter contains vitamins A, D, E, and K2. It has a good balance of fatty acids, and it's a traditional fat that your body knows how to process. Use it freely. Ghee. This is clarified butter with the milk solids removed. It's excellent for high heat cooking and is suitable even for people with dairy sensitivities. It's been used in traditional medicine for thousands of years, specifically for reducing inflammation. Make these swaps and within weeks you'll notice a difference. Your morning stiffness will decrease. Your joint pain will lessen. Your mobility will improve. Your body will finally have a chance to heal. If you're angry that you've been lied to for 50 years, hit that like button right now. That tells me this message is reaching you, that the truth matters to you. Click that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, because we're going to keep pulling back the curtain on every lie the food industry has told us. We're going to keep revealing the truth they don't want you to know, and I want to know you're with me. I want to know you're ready to take action. Go down to the comments right now and type the number 1. Just the number 1. That tells me you're committed. That tells me you're ready to throw these toxic oils in the trash where they belong. Tell me in the comments, which oil shocked you the most? Was it canola, the one you thought was the healthiest? Was it peanut oil? Was it the margarine you've been using for decades? Share your story, because your voice matters, your experience matters. And when you share, you help someone else who's suffering from the same lies. Share this video with everyone you know who's dealing with joint pain. Send it to your friends, send it to your family. This information could change their lives the way it's going to change yours. Your body deserves the truth. Your joints deserve to heal. And you deserve to live without pain. Type that 1 in the comments. Let's take back our health together. Let's expose these lies together. Let's heal together. I'll see you in the next video, where we're going to talk about the inflammatory foods hiding in your refrigerator right now that you think are healthy. Foods that are making everything worse. Until then, check your pantry. Read those labels. Throw out those toxic oils. Your journey to healing starts today.